John Cusack he's a knucklehead in Chicago. He did a lot of movies, right? He's an old man now. He's like friggin', I don't know, he's older than me, I think. It doesn't matter. He was calling for the president to be assassinated. What kind of freaky, crazy thing is that? But he's just one of these hater people that is beyond absurd anymore. I mean, people want to murder women and children. You know, when you talk about genocide, when you're talking about hating an entire group of people, you're not just talking about hating them. She's talking about killing them. You know, she's talking about murdering women and children. A lot of people can put up with the murdering of men because most of us deserve it. But when you talk about murdering women and children, you change the whole tenor of things. People are so... I had a woman this morning, I gave her a ride home. A black woman, very short, tough little old gal. And I was asking her how she voted. After I explained to her what's going on with these Omar and the haters and the Democrats, you know, they want to drop the voting age down to 16. Well, let me pull this one out real quick so you know that I'm not, you know, whatever. Long queue and kids all held them straight into sticks. Holy, I can't believe I've been the same. Jesus coming here soon, I'll say. What's going on? I wanna paint on these people who hate on the one, always one. They wanna paint the world in blood. Oh, the mud, oh, the burn, oh, the hate. Take it to learn. Oh, you and I. Jesus is here, Jesus is alive. Roll, truth is king, love is queen. Over your heads, all your dreams. Over my head, on my eye, leaving me open to die. I don't know why. Haters don't try. They are just cowards. Let me tell you how they're cowards. When Germany was killing all the Jews, and they weren't just killing Jews, they were killing everybody they thought was weren't human. They were killing things they called beasts, which is exactly what the Shah of Iran was doing when he was killing Christians. He said he wasn't killing people. He didn't kill 100,000 people. He killed 100,000 beasts. It's easier to kill beasts than it is human beings. So when you reduce a human being to a beast, mentally, whatever, then it's easier for people to kill them. Now, it's so easy to think of these child haters and child molesters and rapists, which are all under Sharia law, which is enacted in every Islamic little town that they've set up here in the United States, in the heartland of this United States. They go by Sharia law, which means if you show more than a quarter inch of flesh, you get raped over and over, legally. It means that your children are going to be mutilated. Your daughters are going to be operated on and have their clitorises removed so they don't wander. Women, I can't even believe women are even, I mean, it just goes against everything the Democrats believe and espouse. It's just that's what makes it so cuckoo. They have no respect for women, the Saudi Arabians. Women ain't allowed to open their mouths there. So this is cuckoo. Women have to wear a freaking picnic table on their heads. It's not freedom, people. It ain't freedom. These people want to see freedom. Go ahead, back the Islamics who want to kill all the Jews. because they're going to start with killing the morons who are helping them. Freaking stupid. They were such cowards. When Hitler was around, Hitler was killing the Jews. You didn't even know Islam existed. But why didn't they were over there helping the Germans kill the Jews? Let me tell you why they weren't. Because the Germans would have killed them too. They're cowards. They're cowards. Everybody knows where I live. Everybody knows my phone number. Nobody calls me. I don't want trouble either. But I'm sick of this stupidity going on here. This is just outrageously exhausting, I got to tell you. It's exhausting to hear it. It's a 16-year-old vote. They already attack children. They abort them in the womb. They abort them in the schoolroom because they've aborted God from school. And in fact, one kid I was talking to today at the bank was telling me that they didn't push evolution on him in high school. He said that they pushed it on him in college, which was very strange to me. You would think you get smarter when you go from high school to college, but apparently they get dumber because what they're pushing is a religion. Evolution is a religion, but it's a false religion because it's a lie. You can't get DNA out of nowhere. It can't happen. The guy who discovered it said so, but they could treat it like a fact. It's a factual lie. Go to Ken Hoveen. He'll show you exactly why it's a lie. But don't get too distracted because Jesus is what you need to find. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Lead us not to temptation. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Deliver us not to judgment, save us from the evil one. Roll me high and roll me down, under the stairs kicking around. Bring my heart, my head on my soul, to my loving Jesus instead. If I was John Cusack, I would take piano lessons or something, man. All he's doing is playing his mouth. You should get a piano, a clarinet, something. John, what's the matter with you? You know, I used to see John in Chicago all the time, and him and Jerry Springer. I'm not kidding. I seen because I was getting my BMWs at Joe Perillo BMW, and I seen him in there, but he was always by himself. Always. Jerry Springer. I see him in the Oak Tree restaurant every week, at least once or twice, because you could smoke in there. He'd smoke a cigar. He was always alone. I'd see him at Mondelli's bar. Jerry Springer. Always alone and always mopey, never happy. I sent him over, he used to carry that big card, not that I watched it, but whatever. He had this big card. So I had the barmaid in there, which I knew her well. I said, here, give this to him. And it was a card so he could hold up so everybody knew who he was. Of course, he didn't laugh. He didn't think it was funny, whatever. The man is a mope. I saw him at the Bulls game, one of the last ones. It was $2,000 a ticket. I was in there with my brother and a bunch of people from the work. He was in there by himself. Jerry Springer by himself. Girls would come up to him and get their pictures taken next to him, but he was alone. And every time I seen him, he was alone. Every time. Every time I saw, now I'm not saying it's wrong, but, and I don't know anything about Springer. I don't know what he's doing now. I'm just telling you he was alone. Which reminded me, because Johnny Cusack was alone every time I'd see him at the French restaurant, down by Borders, whatever. But this, I'm talking a few years ago now, you know, it's 15, 20 years ago. I went to Florida. You see all the, you know, they accuse me of being a moron. Where is this? They accuse me of being a moron. They're right. I am a moron. That's for sure. I'm a moron. But I'm not an unread moron, okay? Not an unread moron. I'm a read moron. Whatever you want to call it. It's not like my information is coming from like Wikipedia. I get it out of these books. Now, I may not have read every damn book in here, but I'll tell you what, I got a personal relationship with every one of them in here. Now, I yanked a bunch of books out of here recently because when God slapped me upside my head, I realized I didn't need about 300 of them I had within arm's reach. So I moved them out here because they're going to Collingwood auction. I got no use for this kind of ridiculousness anymore because I already know it. I already know what the truth is. I just tell people, you know, I know they're going to find Christ at the end of that road to truth. That's for sure. If they are that sincerely searching for truth, that's who they're going to find, Jesus. Now, I don't force anything on them. I just give them the facts that I know. You know, they could be wrong, but this is what I feel in my heart. And I'm not going to go and embarrass myself with the fucking 3 teeth I have in my face and try to witness to everybody if I didn't really mean what I was saying. It's like Paul. It's got nothing like Paul, but Paul was out there, you know, trying to teach the word of God, the love of Christ to people who hated him and people that wanted to do harm to him. In fact, they killed him a couple of times, stolen whatever. He went through a lot of stuff, and the simple fact that Paul, who was completely against Christ and Christianity in the beginning until he met Jesus by getting slapped off his high horse, you know, I just came up with that because I've been using this one now, slapped off your high horse, for a few days. I've been using it. And apparently slapping off your high horse is exactly what happened to St. Paul. He was slapped off his high horse. See, I'm trying to make a pizza here. So cooked it long enough. So I was playing the guitar when the thing was burning in there, whatever. Paul was slapped off his high horse. He was on the horse on his way to Damascus to grab all the Christians out of prison and bring them in for prosecution to Jerusalem. And he was slapped off his high horse and blinded for 3 days, until he went into Damascus. He had to be led by the hand like a little child, like a 2-year-old, had to be led in. You ever try to walk a blind person around? Try it sometime. Blind people are real smart. You know, most people see blind person, they don't want to hold your elbow. They don't want to make it look like you're pulling them like a little child through, you know, existence or whatever. Blind people want to be as nondescript as they can and easily understood. That's got to be one of the worst things to happen to you, is to be blind. But metaphorically speaking, to be blind to Christ is worse. Because if those guys were truly blind, as he said, the Pharisees and the Sadducees, if they were truly blind, they wouldn't be committing as grave a sin. But since they claim that they weren't blind, their sin remains, as Jesus said. Music is a precious gift. Let me tell you what's wrong with people not developing a musical instrument, way to express music. It's because, first place, they will never succeed at they haven't, let's put it this way, they haven't succeeded in duplicating the sound of an orchestra. That's why they have to have, for all these movies you see, if you look on the backgrounds of the movies, you'll see the ones with the music that are really interesting. I mean, that they're serious about the music, there's a full orchestra playing, a full orchestra. You know, somebody had to make the violins and the violas and the cellos and the clarinets and the oboes and the flugelhorns and everything that there's there playing. Everybody had to make each one, and they can't duplicate that. Even though they managed to digitalize music and get it down to its like finite things, they still can't duplicate an orchestra. They never will be able to, ever. And they ain't gonna last long enough to, you know, to succeed anyway, you know, because how like the little warm pond, you know, like Darwin said, we came from a warm little pond. In the 1950s, these bozos, first place, this is not before they they discovered that there was no oxygen in the earth in the beginning. So that the bacteria that took over had to produce all the oxygen, which killed them off. You know, that's not survival of the fittest, that's altruism. But the claim is that, you know, Darwin said a warm little pond, you know, and you know, electricity hits, the chemicals are moving around in there. It's ridiculous. DNA is way too complex. You know, when they fed all the parameters of the universe and everything into a computer, what got spit out was the fact that not only was the universe created, but it was done with love. Because of the severe balance of everything. It's had to be so fine tuned. You know, what is that? When I see these things in books, it says, you know, 1,000 slot machines would have to all hit sevens at the same time out of a billion slot machines. No, I'm sorry. Out of a billion slot machines, 1 million of them would have to hit. It's a physical impossibility. It's a psychic. It's an impossibility in every except God's realm, because God is beyond space and time. In fact, Einstein may have gotten his insights by reading the Bible. You're not going to tell anybody that. Where'd he go to school? He didn't go to school anywhere. Einstein wasn't taught in a university where he got his ideas. How do you teach somebody ideas that you have no idea what they're talking about? How do you do that? You can't. It's impossible. So where'd he get this information? It wasn't an evolution of information. This is a man had a spark. Einstein didn't start a foundation in mathematics when he was 4 years old and build on it throughout his whole life. When you hit 21, when you hit 23, you're done with your math, because nobody, the mind cannot. The genius in mathematicians is done by the time they're 25. Finished. Usually chess players, by the time they're 25, forget it. But they're innovative up until then. They come up with stuff nobody's ever seen before. It's God putting it in their head. Or the devil. Music is such a gift. Could you imagine nice soft violins and guitars and just nice easy music? Can you imagine that can you imagine it like trying to express evil, murder? No. Easy, peaceful music expresses love, peace, comfort. Beethoven was innovative. Mozart, innovative and cutting edge. They didn't build that on any foundation. And Einstein was a patent clerk. He wasn't a school teacher. He wasn't in a university. These insights came to him in a wave, like a gravity wave, which they claim they just found in 2015. And gravity waves come from something in space colliding. Boom. Like two black holes colliding is the one they found in 2015. The other one was something else happening. Well, I'm working on it. Rolling down the road like any other fool I see. Here's my brother warning me where I'm going to see. happened here? Oh, it died. It died a horrible, deafening death. Deafening deaf death.